this one's going to be a tough one. So, usual disclaimers apply. I really like Magic Arena. It is probably the game that I have sunk more hours into than any other game in the last couple of years. Today I'm going to be reviewing the user interface for Magic Arena, a game which, although it is a live service and so updates are coming out to it all the time, did get officially released in September 2019, so it has been live for around about 15 months. That's not live in the sense of closed beta, open beta, that is actual official release for about 15 months now. It's not really any secret that amongst the Magic the Gathering community, particularly the Magic Arena subreddit, the user interface is the source of much derision. I thought I would throw my hat into the ring today to do a little bit of a review on it. Again, this is not a criticism of any of the skills of the individual developers involved. As with all of these things, business priorities, stack rank, etc. come into play as to what is the most important thing to be working on. And it doesn't detract from the game itself being very fun to play. As I say, I've sunk more hours into Arena than probably any other game in the last couple of years. I play it almost every day. I've played Magic on and off for about 20 years now. This is me trying to highlight some of the interface, the usability elements that I think need some work, and if I were working on this product would be the things that I would want to prioritize to develop a better experience for the users. With those usual disclaimers out of the way, let's jump into it. Here are my top some number of items, probably 5, that I really do not like about the interface in Magic Arena. And also, if you stick around to the end, there is a little bit of bonus footage of me accidentally crushing a goblin deck with some total jank that I created purely to demonstrate a point during one of the videos. So if you enjoy goblins being defeated by decks that really shouldn't beat goblins, stick around to the end and maybe you'll derive some enjoyment from that. Okay, let's go to the list. The first item I'm going to be talking about today is this toggle button at the top of the screen. Now this is something you only have to remember once. I came across this problem because I had to uninstall Arena and reinstall it, and when I tried to play a game I was like, where have all my different options gone? Why are there only 9 game modes in here? This doesn't make any sense. I literally had to go onto the Reddit to ask someone how you turn those other modes on, and it was pointed out that there's a toggle at the top of the screen here. Okay, so this toggles what's available in this blade. Let's break this down. First of all, if this toggle is changing what's available in this blade, the toggle should be in the blade. Second thing, this toggle does not look like any other toggle in the interface. In fact, I don't think the interface uses toggles anywhere else. It uses checkboxes in adjusting your options in the gameplay settings. It has these checkboxes. It doesn't use toggles anywhere else in the interface. Its positioning is also incredibly suspect, because what you have is in the main tile you have some kind of news that scrolls through. It's around, you know, here's a link to deck lists, here's a link to some Kaldheim advertising. Okay, that's a game mode. This, I believe, just takes you to the store. But this is like news in this tile. And then these 3 tiles are what the client is recommending you go and play, so these 3 are always game modes. But because this is called Arena Play Modes, and it's above these 3 tiles, it looks like a subheading. It looks like the application is being split into 2 halves, and Arena Play Modes is the title of this one. It doesn't help that a lot of the artwork on the main tile goes above the border of the tile. This picture, for example, goes all the way up to the top border of the frame, putting it in line with this toggle as well, meaning that the subheading, reading it as a subheading, reads roughly correctly. It needs to be redesigned and it needs to move inside the play blade. So let's talk then these tabs at the top. You have Home, Profile, Decks, Pack, Store, and Mastery. Now, I'm not going to go into whether menus across the top of the screen or menu items down the left-hand side of the screen are better. I tend to think that those are a little bit fashion. They'll go in and out of fashion over time. Going across the top is considered a little bit out of fashion at the moment. If you go to Runeterra, for example, you'll see things going down the side more, and main menus down the side is more reminiscent of things like YouTube and Facebook and so on, whereas menus across the top, like ribbons across the top, is more like desktop applications like Word and PowerPoint and so forth. Now, when you're crafting a piece of software and you're deciding what needs to go into tabs, you want to have enough stuff in there that you can reasonably group it into a tab in its own right. The stuff in that tab needs to be all the same sort of stuff so that the user knows which tab to navigate to get to the stuff they're interested in. But you also want to be selective, because it should really only be stuff that users are trying to access reasonably frequently. And this comes to where I disagree with profile being the second tab. I certainly think Dex should be the second tab on here, because Dex is where you're most likely going to want to go more frequently. In the profile screen, you have your season rankings, you have your player hash at the top, and you have your mastery pass, and then you can choose some options like changing your avatar, whether what emotes you're using, and so forth. I think this should be an icon over on the top right hand corner, which is more like a user profile. User profiles on most websites are held in the top right near the settings button, and I think this should be placed there for consistency. I also think that the season information and the mastery is redundant information, because in the mastery tab you already have information about your mastery, so I think these two should actually be brought together as well into a single place. Mastery, I could kind of understand why you would want to, from a business point of view, move it out into another tab, because you are encouraging players to engage with the mastery pass. It's not really a backstage user profile setting, but certainly things like selecting your avatar, selecting your emotes, that should be user settings. Okay, this one is small, but it annoys me every time it happens. It's most easily shown when you're on all play modes. In the play blade, the scroll only works when your mouse is actually over something that you can select, which I really don't like. So this is going to be really hard to show on screen, but if I have my mouse over traditional standard play, I can scroll up. Oh no, wait, it stopped. I can't scroll up, I can't scroll down, because my mouse is now between play and brawl. You can hear my mouse scrolling there, right? If I highlight brawl, I can now scroll up, I can scroll down, scroll up, scroll down, scroll up, scroll down. See, this is fun. Oh no, I've got stuck again. I've got stuck. My mouse is between menu elements. It's so infuriating. This next one is actually a gripe of the user interface within game, and it requires a certain amount of understanding of the actual game itself. So in Magic we have this thing called the stack, which is the set of spells and abilities that are waiting to resolve as part of the game. If you have multiple things that get added to the stack at the same time, you're able to choose how your triggers go onto the stack. Everywhere else in Magic, the stack is talked about as having a top and a bottom. So you add things to the top of the stack, and then things come off the top of the stack and you work your way down the stack until the stack is empty. So it's like a bucket that's filling up. It's a LIFO bucket. Whatever goes on the stack last is the first thing that comes off. Right? Now remember that word. Whatever goes on the stack last is the first thing that comes off. Right? So people talk about the stack as having a bottom and a top. If things go onto the top of the stack, they're the first ones to come off. Now this makes the words first and last ambiguous, because when you say first and last, do you mean the first thing that was put on the stack, or do you mean the first thing that's going to come off the stack? In Arena, when you are ordering your triggers on the stack, it asks you to order them from first to last and does not make it clear whether you are talking about first to resolve or first on the stack, i.e. last to resolve. It would be much better if these labels were relabeled to be top and bottom so that you can place it on the stack in an order that you expect. Okay, that's going to wrap it up for this list. Did I mention the thing that annoys you the most when you play Arena? Do you have a thing that annoys you that I didn't mention? Let me know in the comments down below. Please leave a like on this video and consider giving me your subscription. I want to continue breaking down the UI, the UX, the usability of various video games, other pieces of software, and perhaps other online platforms. If you enjoy the content, consider sharing it. As always, thanks for watching, and we'll talk soon.